Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I'm Nicodemus Kane, and today is November the 10th of 2022. Hopefully everything is working properly. I don't know what happened. My microphone reset, and I had to go back in and change it, and it's just been a weird morning. Let's just put it that way. Already, it's just been a weird morning. It's just been one crazy thing happening after another. I keep thinking I'm hearing noises in the house. There's a weird smell of fish. I don't know what's going on. Um, Anyways, today we're going to read Isaiah 65. It's kind of a long one, so we might just jump right into it here in a second. Um, Usually I cover some kind of current events or topics or conspiracies or something that we can talk about. But I haven't really looked at anything lately. I kind of separated myself from what's been going on in the world. A lot of shenanigans, of course, with the midterm elections, and that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, seriously, you allowed them to do it in 2020. What makes you think they're not going to do it now? Also, just this whole, what is it, Pennsylvania or Virginia? I don't remember which one it is, with this Fetterman guy, this monster Frankenstein looking, apparently had a stroke right before the primary started or whatever it was, and the man can't make a coherent sentence. this is this is really what you guys ran with, and this is really the person that won. Seriously, I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. If you can't even qualify to run small machinery, you probably shouldn't be able to sit at a seat in the Senate. Just saying, man. That's if you can't make coherent sentences, you shouldn't be. You sit it out is what you do. You sit one out. You don't keep going. I don't know how in the world. I don't even know. Everybody's like, how could you people be so stupid to vote for it? And all I can think is, how could you people be so stupid to think that your vote put this person in office? I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I really don't want to get into it too much. We're gonna move past it. We're gonna move past it. It's I don't know. I have a pretty bad toothache right now. And it's not even because of a cavity, and it's not even because something's happened. It's where my teeth are rubbing together. I went to the dentist. He said, "Well, I can't really do anything for you. We could get in there, we could put a crown on it, do all this other stuff to it, but it should heal on its own." It's like, no, it's not healing on its own, buddy. It's my teeth are rubbing together. My top tooth is rubbing down into my bottom teeth, and it's creating a hole. And that hole is starting to hurt. So now it's like my mouth and now my skull are on fire. And I don't like dentists. Dentists are just, they're mouth butchers. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck here. Yeah. Talking is okay, but thinking is becoming a problem. Anyways. Let's do Isaiah 65, all right? I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in the way that was not good, after their own thoughts, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens, and burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves, and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Lord, which have burned incense upon the mountains, and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. All right, starting back up at the top, it's a couple things that I heard that really stand out to me. I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. This is definitely talking about the Gentiles, the people that were not gods, those that, once again I say it, those that will come to him at the end and say, surely we have inherited lies. You know, we want something better than the evils and the lies and the false gods that we have been preached to our entire lives. I am sought of them that ask not for me. That God will be sought by those that had never once considered following after him. I am found of them that sought me not, which I can claim that one. I never once in a million years would have even imagined that I would have found God at the end of this, the end of finding the truth. You know, once you start seeing one lie, and then once you start looking into the next lie, and then once you start following those lies, you know, start hearing the truth, start understanding the truth makes more sense than the things that you've been taught. You follow that path down, and eventually you will find God. That's at least that worked for me. And I've heard so many other people have said the same things, is that you can't follow that path of truth all the way to the end without finding God somewhere along the line. Because all the things you've been told about evolution, about time, about space, about, I don't want to say religion, history. I don't really want to say, even though religion falls into that category, you're not really taught religion. You know, you're mostly taught, oh, you know, religion is such a bad thing because all it does is make people, you know, hate each other and all this other kind of stuff. True. That's why we are not religious people. We are spiritual people that follow God. But it's another one of those things where you find out that, it's just another lie. That people have taken the Word of God that you can know in your heart and you can understand and you can see how it has predicted your entire future and how it is salvation, how it can save you and change you and make you better. You see how people have taken that and twisted it into something far more devious and sinister. And of course, the Bible even points that out almost word for word. Hey, look, there's going to be this group of people that are, already taking the word that I had and they're already starting to change it. Oh, hey, by the way, they're doing these exact things in order to change it. The Bible almost calls it out directly. I can't tell you how many times I have heard the Bible call out the Jewish, the Catholics, the Muslims. And it calls it out word for word. Praying to the east, or worshiping death, or what was the other one? Of course, there's Christmas. I can't think of it right offhand. There's other smaller ones. Little things, though. I could go through and I could make a list, and we could go down the list. We could just follow right down the list and, point out where it says they're doing these things, and it's the exact same things that all these other religions do. And of course, you go into these religions, and the deeper you get into them, the more evil you find that they become. It's not about worshiping a God that loves anything. It's about self-righteousness and doing as much for yourself as possible so that you can become something better on this world. I mean, it's basically what it is. And when you really get into these religions, it's about doing things better for yourself for this world. It's never about doing better for others, storing up your treasures in the next world, about building those mansions in the next world, about finding those places in heaven which are waiting for you. It's always about doing things, doing the works, doing the deeds, doing whatever in this world to make this life as good as possible. Because you got to live your best life here. But you find that as you read through those, as you understand what these other religions mean, what their dogmas mean. And then you hear the prosperity gospels, which actually take, our Bible, and they flip it way over on their head. They're saying, well, God wants you to be happy. God wants you to find all the things in this life that you can have, and it's the same doctrine. It's the same evil doctrine. And you flip that on the other side, you get the guys that will be the snake handlers, or the guys that will be the ones that speak in the tongues, the roll around on the floor, the faith healers, the send me money, all those guys that have taken these very specific things and have twisted it to suit themselves. They're not even trying to save you anymore. They're just trying to suit themselves. And every single bit of it. Just read the book. Yeah, you'll be able to handle snakes, but holy crap, it says don't tempt your God. Yeah, you'll be able to you'll be able to heal the sick and heal the downtrodden, but you're not going to be going out there and smacking people in the head and making it work like that. There is no prayer and fasting for the hairspray club. That's what I call them. That they go out there in their nice fancy suits and they're dancing and they're screaming and they got their perfectly pampered hair and come up to me and I'll heal you and smack you in the head. And come on, man. It's been so twisted and manipulated. But it is. You will find God at the end of it. Once you start really looking for the truth. And once you start digging through all these religions that tell you one thing, tell you another thing, tell you a third thing, when you just sit down with the book and just read the book, read the Bible for itself, ask for clarity, ask God for clarity, ask Him for wisdom and understanding. And it's not going to be perfect doing it yourself. I get that. There's still probably people that say, well, you still need to have somebody to teach you to blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure I do. That's why I look at both sides of the debate. Whenever I have a question about something, I will go look it up. I will look up the pros and the cons. And I will make up my own mind on it. And I will ask God to help me make up my own mind on it. You can't trust this world anymore. You can't trust the people in the world anymore. There's only so many people that you can follow that you can really trust them by their fruits. There are lies and deceivers in the world. Some people think there aren't. Some people think that if you've been saved by God that you cannot lie and deceive. Were they really saved by God then? Or were they lying to you? People have become so adept at lying now that you don't even know the truth anymore. Thus, when it comes time, we will be coming to God, yet again saying, I have inherited lies. I have not been looking for you, yet I found you. I was not asking for you, and yet now I am seeking you. I am 100%. This is like, you want to talk about wake-up calls. It's just one verse like that inside of Isaiah, on the back chapters of Isaiah, that you're just like, they're talking about me. Behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens, and burneth incense upon altars of bricks, which remain among the graves, and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh and broth of abominable things, is in their vessels. And it's still going. I mean, I'm still hitting semicolons here. Which say, stand by thyself, come not near me. For I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day. So I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people. My own people, the ones that I chose to save, the ones that I thought were going to be the ones that followed me all the way through, but they have turned every single time I've saved them, I've done something for them, they've gotten comfortable, and they started following after false gods because they just can't get it in their heads. This is not your best life, but yet they're falling under false gods because the false gods promise them all of these good things of this world. And it's all satanic. It's all it is. It's all Satan. It's all evil. It's all the devil. It's all whatever you want to call it. It's always that same understanding, is that this is the best place for you. You can have money, wealth, power, fame, whatever you want in this world to make you happy. Don't worry about the next world. Don't worry about what's coming after this. Only worry about taking what's for yourself. And that is exactly what has happened. No matter how many times God has said, be good in this world. Do what you can for those people that can't do for themselves. And then come to me, and I will lift you up after you've passed out of this world, and I will give you something far better than this. But people want everything now. They want what's going on right now, so that they don't have to worry about what's coming. It gets to the point to where they start fearing death. They start fearing the next world, because they think there's nothing out there. That's just one of the biggest lies that's out there right now, is that there's nothing out there. If you die, where are you going to go? You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to get the one that I hear the most is you're going to come back. Who the hell wants to come back to this place? I don't want to come back to this place. And if you come back, then you could be some animal. You could be reincarnated as a fly that only gets to live for a day. Some kind of crap like that. And it's like, no, man, that is not the truth of any of it. It is so absurd, the things that they tell these people, and I used to believe it. I used to be right there with everybody else. I used to think that this was all part of something. That your karma determines where you go and crap like that. And it's like, no, that's just not true anymore, man. It is lies to keep you in this world. It's the best I can say it, without getting too much further into it, because like I said, we can sit here and we can talk about the second, third, fourth, and fifth verse for 20 minutes, which is probably what could happen, and then I have to hurry up for the end of it. So let's keep moving. Let's keep going. I can elaborate on all this stuff later if I needed to. Which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. Because again, you're not thinking of God, you're thinking about yourself. Everything is vanity. You will see that. It's either Jeremiah or Ezekiel. I think it's Jeremiah that says everything is vanity. A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face. Now, I just want to take that one. I know I said I wasn't going to elaborate a lot. But to my face, I just want to talk about Christmas again, because it's the same exact thing that it always has. You're celebrating Christ's birthday by doing what he told you not to do. You're celebrating his birthday by not only doing what he told you not to do, not bringing a tree in and blah blah blah, all that stuff, singing songs to a God that is not him, on a day that he was not born, on a day that his greatest enemy possibly was born. And you're doing all those things that he told you not to do in order to celebrate another god. You're doing it right in front of his face. You do the same thing at Easter, too. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face. That doesn't just mean they sacrifice in gardens and all. It's not just that. It's you're not even listening to me. You're going off and you're doing all this stuff I told you not to do. And yet you still claim it's for me. That's one of the big ones right there. That's one of those big. That's why things are the way that they are. It's because the people have fallen so far away from God that he says, okay, fine. You want it your way, you have it your way. I cannot get behind you while you do this. I told you before, I'm going to tell you again. You're going to follow after your own lusts and your own desires and all this stuff, and I can't follow with you because that's not the way that I told you. You all you have to do is just listen to me, be better, and you're going to inherit the world. But no, you decided you wanted to go elsewhere. And that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of bricks. Just be careful when you burn incense. Make sure you're not inadvertently burning it to a pagan god. It's amazing how much you actually do if you don't pay attention to it. Which remain, oh, by the way, sacrificing in gardens. Oh, can we talk about Bohemian Grove? They sacrifice in the groves up on the mountains. Just throwing that out there. Which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments. Which remain among the graves, worshiping the dead. Pulling the dead out of the graves, keeping them in vacuum sealed chambers, flying the pieces around. Have you seen the videos where the Catholics will take the head of some dead martyr or the body or something? Or even still, the people that will make the pilgrimages to go out to see, supposedly, no, I don't even know if it's true, supposedly the tomb, the crypt in which Christ was kept, it's a tourist attraction. They wish that they want to worship the dead, worship the death, worship the dead and worship death. Holy shit. They want to worship death. It's a death cult. We've become such a death cult. We want to go to the places where people have died. They wish to remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh. I'm not even going to get into that. I could go on for hours about swine's flesh. And broth of abominable things is in their vessels. Why do we not eat pigs? Because there's some animals in the world that you just don't eat. They're bottom feeders. They're meant to consume trash. What does God tell us not to eat? He tells us not to eat the animals that consume other animals, that consume the blood of other animals, that consume trash, that consume shit. That's why you don't eat a dog. You don't eat dog, you don't eat pig, you don't eat crows. You don't eat bottom feeders because they live and eat shit. They eat the worst things in the world. And then you eat them, therefore you're eating the worst shit in the world. That's why God tells you not to eat them. So that you don't gain that garbage. That's why they talk about all the time about clean grass-fed cows. You don't want You don't want to get mass marketed cows that are produced on a farm, fed some of the worst foods in the world, probably microplastics. And you're consuming all this, and it's destroying your body. God tells you directly, don't consume bad things. If you're going to eat good things. Don't eat pig. Pig is bad for you. I don't care how good it tastes. Pig is not good for you. It's not a bad commandment. I mean, we can get into where it says, it's an unclean animal. You shouldn't be eating it. But no, we're past that point. It's just it's a bad animal to eat. It's a bottom feeder. That's what it is. That's why he tells you not to eat them. Anything that consumes blood, pretty much. That's why you can actually eat certain insects. I actually learned that the other day. You can eat certain insects, but you can't eat all insects. Don't eat insects that consume other people's blood. I was watching something the other day, and it was people in Africa that were taking pots and pans out and spinning around in circles with the pans in their hands, consuming mosquitoes. It just makes me sick just thinking about it. And I was like, that's got to be an unclean that's got to be an unclean insect. There's only like 4 or 5 insects that the Bible actually says you can eat. Believe it or not. Some people said, oh no, we can't eat any. No, it actually says you can consume some insects. The locust, believe it or not, is one of the insects you can consume. It's crazy, I know. Which say, stand by thyself, come not near me, for I am holier than thou. Stay 6 feet separated from me. Social distance, because I am holier than thou. Do you get it? They are smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all day. Yes, it will. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but I will recompense, even recompense into their bosom, your iniquities and the iniquities of your father together, saith the Lord, which have burned incense upon the mountains, in the groves, and blasphemed me upon the hills, in those same groves. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. Okay. Now that I've spent 30 minutes, well, actually, no, probably about 20 minutes, just on the first 7 verses. Let's just keep moving. Verse 8. Thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servant's sake, that I may not destroy them all. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah an inheritor of my mountains. And mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. And Sharon, neither one, Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, in the valley of Achor, a place for the herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me. I remember looking those up. Let me see. Verse 10. Sharon, that's the plains. And I think Achor was also it was another valley. It means troubled. A troubled valley. So going back up to verse 8, though. Thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster. As new wine is found in the cluster. What is a cluster? Of grapes. As the new wine is found in a cluster of grapes. Okay. And one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. So will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. There will always be a remnant. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah an inheritor of my mountains. And mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. And Sharon, which is a field. Where'd it go? There it is. A plain, and Sharon shall be a fold of flocks. In the valley of Achor, a troubled area, a troubled plain, a place for herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me. It will be a troubled place. This is another one of those, the lion shall lay with the lamb. Now it's the wolf shall lay with the lamb, whichever way you want to do it. That's Mandela effect. Lost my place. Verse 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore thus saith the Lord God, Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name. That he who blesseth himself in the earth shall bless himself in the God of truth, and he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the God of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from mine eyes. Back up to verse 11. My nose is starting to run just a little bit. Hopefully it's not going to get too bad. I've been sneezing a lot, because again, I've been working outside trying to winterize the house, and it has been killing my allergies. Because I've been finding these, they're just little seeds. I don't know which tree is doing it. I think it's the tree that has they're like spiky balls, and I think it's got like seed clusters in them. But they're everywhere. These little seed things are everywhere, all over the place. It's crazy. Anyways, back up to verse 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain. Which holy mountain is that? Well, it's interesting. You go to Enoch, the book of Enoch, and Enoch talks about the holy mountain at the ends of the earth, or it talks about the mountain at the ends of the earth that has all kinds of metals in it. Every kind of metal that you could ever think of, gold, silver, whatever. And he talks about that mountain being the throne of God. That is the place where God will be sitting. There's several mountains, like four. He talks about there being 4 mountains, or something like that. You can see all 4 of them at a certain place. I think I actually talked about it somewhere, and somebody else said, no, that's not what that's supposed to be. It's like, well, okay, then whatever. I don't care. But he talks about one of those mountains will eventually become the throne of God. That's where God will come down, and he will sit with his people. And that's where he will rule from, is that place. And it's like the earth was a footstool. Now it's, now he will find his throne, and he will sit upon that holy mountain. It's just interesting, though, that, we're talking about this holy mountain again. What was that exactly? It was three mountains is what it was. He saw 3 mountains whenever he came over a certain rise or something. And I was saying, it's interesting, we're talking about 3 mountains, and there happens to be 3 pyramids, and in Giza, and there was a correlation there or something. The same thing, there's 3 mountains in Colorado that, they line up. The guy that I was talking to was saying that there's 3 mountains in Africa that line up like that. There's 3 mountains in Antarctica that line up like that. And, just all kind. It's all over the place. So you just don't know what it could or couldn't be. That's another story for another time. That forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Because you turned away from me, because you didn't do what I asked you to do. And I didn't force you to do what I asked you to do. I just asked you to do it. I went ahead and just created the whole world, created everything you knew, created you. And I just asked you to do some things for me, but you chose not to do it. I didn't force you to do it. And I told you that when it comes time, I'm going to have to put you to accountability. And you chose to go off and do whatever the heck you wanted to do. So this is what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Makes me think of the crying and gnashing of teeth at the end of days, when everyone that has been judged gets thrown into the lake of fire. And there will be much weeping and crying and gnashing of teeth, and there will be those that will be crying out, haven't we done all these things for you? Look at the things that we have done. How could you let us fall to this? And it's a whole thing. Verse 15, and ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name, that he who blessed himself in the earth shall bless himself in the God of truth. In the God of truth. And he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the God of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, because they are hid from mine eyes. That'll be a beautiful day. Verse 17. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. There's one right there. And the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountains, saith the Lord. There's a Mandela effect right there. And we'll get to that. If I got some time, we'll get to that. And so back up to 17. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. Now it says this in Revelations as well. That's it actually says right here, Revelation 21:1. Let's see if I can find it real quick. 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. I was looking to see if God will wipe away all the tears, and that's exactly what that just said that we just read. And I'm looking to see if it said anything about if it says anything about the animals sleeping together. Sleeping together, you hear me? Resting together, not killing each other. I didn't see it. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. Everything that is in this world will go away. It shall not be remembered. It won't even come into your mind. He's going to create a new heaven and a new earth. And anyone that is saved, that comes into this new place, will be given a new body and a new heart and a new mind. It's one thing people don't remember. You're not going to remember this world. I don't even think you're going to be able to take your memories. So people say that. People say the only thing that you're going to be able to take into the new world is your memories. No. That's not even what the thing says. The Bible itself says that you will get to go to another place. Why do you think that the Bible will tell you about this new place, but it won't tell you past that? If God knows the end from the beginning, why didn't God keep going on in the Bible? Because by the time you get there, all this stuff isn't going to matter. It's not going to matter, because everything that was in this world is going to go away. It won't even spring back into mind. So no, you're not going to remember this world. You're going to move into something new that has never been seen before. You're going to have a new body. You're going to have a new life. You're going to have a new everything. You're going to inherit something far better than this. And none of this matters. What you do here, apparently, will matter. But outside of that, you're not going to remember any of it. It's not going to spring to mind. It shall not be remembered. It's crazy stuff, I know, but it's sitting right there. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. It makes you think for a second. You're getting a new body, you're getting a new mind, you're getting a new, I don't know if you're getting a new spirit. What is here in this world will not be remembered. It won't even come to mind. So you won't be worried about it. but it makes you think. Since you're not worried about taking anything with you, but you have to be somewhat concerned with what you do in this world to be able to earn the next world. You get that? It's that judgment. You ask for that forgiveness because everyone will be judged. And this new place where we're going, has to be so much better that you need to strive to get there. Not through your works, not through what you could do with this world, but through doing what God wants you to do, to prepare your spirit. I still think there is a spiritual aspect to every single bit of this in which we still can't understand. There are rules that we still can't fathom, but they're rules. They're there. It's still a thing that exists. There has to be rules to this, and to get us to that point, to try to follow these rules, these spiritual rules, so that our souls, our spirit, our essence, our whatever can move forward. You really have to think about just what it is we need to do for the Father in order to get there. So there's something more to it. Something I can't even remotely explain. And I'm sure there's, again, a lot of people could probably look at it and say, well, you're overthinking it. All you got to do is just do this, 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 and that. At that same time, like I said, it's if you really put some thought into what God says is coming next, it's more than just being as good as possible. There's something else to it. There's something else going on there. And I am not going to get too wrapped up in it. You hear things like this and the largeness of what it is. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. It's something bigger than I can fathom right now. I think it's something bigger than a lot of us can fathom, because it's so right there out in the open. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be cursed. For the child shall die 100 years old. Now, is this a reference to a child growing up 100 years old? Or is this in reference to people actually being able to die? That's something that you have to think about. I don't even want to get too far into that. My brain's already thinking about 20 other things right now. Let me see what it says in the Strong's about that, though. For the child shall die, to die, killed to die prematurely, to die prematurely. To die prematurely by neglect of wise moral conduct. To be put to death. What? To perish. Causality. To kill. For the child shall die 100 years old. This is not even about growing up. There will still be death. There shall be no more thence an infant of days. An infant of days. It's time. Nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. Think about that for a second. But the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. See, there are still things going on here. It's apparently not a perfect place. You know? It's apparently not a perfect place. We're still talking about this is the end of days after he creates a new place, a new heavens, new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, and all this stuff. We are talking about a new world that God has created. Not this new world order, just a new world that God has created. The old one will not be remembered. He will wipe away all the tears, and everybody will be happy, and everybody that has been allowed to come over will allow to come over. There will still be sinners. A child shall die at 100 years old, which means that people will get to live for a long time. But a child shall die at 100 years old, but the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. But the sinner... To sin, miss the way, go wrong, to incur guilt, to miss oneself, to purify oneself from cleanness. What? To induce sin, to cause the sin. Shall be accursed, swift, to make despicable, to curse. But the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. So what's the word for child? Boy, lad, youth. Man, there's something going on here. I don't have all the answers. Don't expect me to have all the answers. It's just, this is after this new place is built. This is after the, is this after the 1,000 years? Has to be, because you're talking about, in the book of Revelations, this is the very last page. This is talking about the new earth being created. This is after he rolled the scroll, or he rolled the skies up like a scroll. This is after the stars fell to the earth, after everything was been burned and destroyed. And he creates a new place, and he brings all these people over, and he wipes all their tears away. It's a new Jerusalem. This is after the 1,000 years, and he starts it over. You know, my stepfather, who was a pastor, he had to go do other stuff. He talked about the end of the Bible being the beginning of something else. He was hinting almost to the fact that it's just circular, that, you know, the Bible ends where the Bible begins. It's like it just resets itself. I don't know how true that is or not. But there's something to this, though. It still seems like we keep the same old garbage that we brought over. And not only that, it seems like we're doing the same old stuff. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. We're still building houses. We're still living, it's not like it's I at one point had thought that it's like a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone into something different. Um, you lived 1,000 years on this world, and then this world is completely obliterated after the short season of Satan, and then it is flipped over to the next one, to the new one, the new world that he will create. And then in that new world, it will be something we have never remotely seen. Something completely different. And I was always under the assumption that it was not this place. The rules that happen here would not apply in the new one. But this is saying they shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards. I mean, they're still eating and drinking, apparently. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. They're still eating in this place. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. So they're working, apparently, too. It is a perfect utopia world that is very similar to what we're doing now. It's something new, sure. But they shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. Is that the offspring that they make when they're there, or not? And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. And then we find out there's going to be animals. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountains, saith the Lord. So all of these animals that used to be hunters will not be hunters anymore. The lion will not have to worry about killing. The wolf will not be worried about eating a lamb like it usually does. Snakes will be eating dust instead of eating rodents, rats. You're still going to have all of these animals, but it's going to be a new place, and you're not going to remember any of this. We're going to get there, and you're not going to remember me sitting here talking about this. That's what it said. It will not come to mind. There will be nothing of this place will be remembered, and it will not even come to mind. Will you take the memories with you? Probably not. You're going to get something new. This is something different. Man, we're talking about different stuff. This is something new going on here. You want to talk about different stuff. This is it. And I don't know how to put this in any kind of perspective that makes any sense other than you get to continue. And this place is so perfect and righteous that you get to actually work, build something for yourself, do something for yourself, and it's for you. There is no wasted time in your life. You get to have better things. You get to eat of the food you plant. live in the place that you built, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Possibly even have children. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. That may or may not mean that you get to have children. It may or may not mean you get married. I don't know. It says in heaven that, the angels don't reproduce. And people have always said, well, what happens after you die and you go to this new place? Do you get to have children? And everybody's like, no, because the angels don't reproduce. Well, we're not talking about heaven. We're not talking about any of the heavens. According to the Bible, you don't even get to go to a heaven. That's otherworld stuff. You don't even get to see that. When you die, you sleep. You wake up for the judgment, and if you get judged for being good, you get to move to this new world, where you get a new life, a new body, new spirit, and you don't remember any of this. And you get to live out your life in peace and comfort and serenity and beauty. But it is not heaven, it's a new world. And there's lions and tigers and bears and snakes. Oh my, all this stuff. And I'm not saying everything you've been told is a lie, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Everything that they tell you is not true. There's other things going on. I don't know what else to say. It's big time heavy stuff, and Revelation backs it up. Now, I can go read Revelation 21 again if you want me to. It's the same thing. It's a new world. It's a new place where everybody gets to be happy for the rest of their lives. And apparently people still die. Think about that for a second. People still sin. I don't get it. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all the tears of the eyes. There shall be no more death. By the way, this is Revelation 21. And the former things passed away. And he that spoke in the throne said, behold, I make all things new. I make all things new. Because everything that came before is gone. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And I will give unto him that is athirst for the fountain of water of life freely. And he that overcometh shall inherit all things. He that overcometh, he that does not fall into sin, that overcomes the judgment, that makes it through, shall inherit all things. And I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, the murderers, the whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And there shall come unto me one of the seven angels and 7 vials full of the 7 plagues. Come thither, I will show you the bride, the Lamb, carried away to place. He carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and he showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. Having glorious lives. And then it describes what this place looks like. It needs no sun, for there is a natural light. It is, some people say it's a cube, some people say it's a pyramid. I don't know if it matters or not. Apparently, there's only X amount of space in this place. The nation of them which are saved shall walk in the light thereof, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the kings of the earth. Who are the kings of the earth? Well, it's the glory of God to hide a thing. It's the honor of kings to search a thing out. And the gates of it shall not. I'm not saying. I say that, and it's like, it's my favorite quote of the Bible, and it's like, I'm not going to be a king because I'm hunting this stuff out, but it's the honor of kings. It's something worthy of doing in your life is to find the truth. And the more you look, the more you find it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, and there shall be no night, and there shall be no night there. There shall be no night there, but what about the rest of the world? This new place. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. There shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, nor maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. An old man. Whoa, wait, what was it again? But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. The sinner that exists outside the city, maybe? What is going on here? What am I looking at? And there shall in no wise enter into it, even though the gates are open, enter anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to take care of a thing. I don't. He showed me a pure river of water of life. This is Revelations 22, and it's talking about, and the leaves of the trees were for the healing. It's talking about what they're doing. There shall be no more curses. Throne of God is face. But is it perfect? He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. But that's after he says, seal not the sayings of the prophecy in this book, for the time is at hand. Why does nobody else talk about this? Anybody I ever hear talk about this? Oh, it stops dead perfect on the bottom of the page. Wow, that's crazy. Why does everybody I ever hear talk about, the end of times and all this, where it's going to be a nice, perfect utopia and everybody's supposed to be happy and wonderful and everything's supposed to be great and there's no more sin and there's no more curses and there's no more anything? I just read right there in the Bible that inside the city of Jerusalem, this new place, this new beautiful utopia, will be no more curses. It will be a new place, a new world, a new something that we have never seen before in our entire lives. But at the same time, it's saying that children can still die at 100 years old. And this is not, we looked at the Strongs, this is not saying that a child becomes a man at 100 years old. This is talking about death. Child can still die at 100 years old, and that a sinner shall be accursed. The sinner shall be accursed. There is nothing that can go into the city that can hurt the city, that can harm the city, that can destroy the city. So that means that it has to be outside the city. It's still not a perfect world. Man, what's going on there? Now, Father, if I am wrong, please show me wisdom and understanding to put me back on track. But what I'm reading and trying to understand is that just based upon what I see, the old world will be burned away, completely wiped out, obliterated. That's the first death for everybody. Completely whoosh, blown away. Then there's a judgment. And the judgment is that second death, the ones that go into the lake of fire and burn for all eternity or whatever. Or is that just for the 1,000 years? Yeah, I'm getting confused on that now. Anyways, let's go right to the end though. At the end, the spirits of all those that held through, that were, what does it say, untouched, whatever, those that made it through were brought into the new city, this new place after, God destroys everything and he builds a new world, and this is the place where they're supposed to be able to build their own houses and plant their own vineyards and drink their own wine and all this other kind of stuff. That they get to exist in this place where all of this happens. Where was I going with this? I lost it. I'm sorry. I got 20 things going through my head. But they're the ones that made it through, and they get brought into this place where everything's nice and peaceful, and it's, a child can supposedly live for 1,000 years, or live for hundreds and hundreds of years. I don't even know how much. It can die at 100 years old, which means that, let's just say a child, where do you say the cutoff point for a child is? 6, 8? So, that means 100 years at 8 could mean that somebody lives to be 1,000 years old, which is kind of what the people in the first days were living to be anyways. So let's just say 1,000 years, a couple thousand years. People are still dying though. You've got all these animals that somehow made it through. All these animals that somehow made it through. But you're getting new bodies, and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, because all of this has gone away, and it won't even come to mind. It will not even be remembered. Man, there's something else. Something I'm missing. What am I missing? I don't know, man. That's crazy stuff, though. Oh. My mind is going like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and my headset is falling off my head. Um, I am missing a big part of this puzzle, this picture. I am going to ask God today that He will allow me to find that truth. Usually He helps me by putting it in my mind to go either look something up or to listen to somebody else talk about it. It just makes you everything everybody always says is that after this 1,000-year reign, you get taken to this new place. And it's like it's heaven. They still talk about heaven. But this is a new world. This is a new place. This is something else. I'm missing something. There's something that I'm missing. What is it that I'm missing? Yeah. All right. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We could have done the wolf and the lamb thing. You guys want to do the wolf and the lamb thing really quick? If my nose is getting stopped up, I am sorry. If supposedly, every place in the Bible now is wolf and lamb. Lion and a lamb does not exist anymore in the Bible, apparently. You can look through and you would think lion and the lamb, and you would automatically start getting how do we understand the lion and the lamb passage? Well, you don't, because it doesn't exist. Let's try KJV. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. It's not there anymore. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw. That's the only place. It's not here anymore. It's not in there. And yet, for whatever reason, people have made images after image after image after image going back 40, 50, 60 years. I've seen some of these from the 1800s where they have talked about the lion and the lamb. And it's over and over and over and over and over. You want to know how hard it is to find wolf and lamb stuff? So here's a wolf and a lamb. One wolf and lamb out of all these, the lion and the lamb. It's just constant. It's over and over and over and over and over and over. So let's try a wolf. And some people just don't want to, they want to. But not nearly as much though. And it all looks very, I don't know. This is Aesop's Fables, Wolf and the Lamb stuff. That's where this is where you're going. You're not getting like biblical. You're not like getting biblical stories here. You're getting other things. It's just very, very strange. I don't know how else to say it. But it's very, very weird, It's one of those things. And it's like, everybody remembers it that way. And you look up Lion and Lamb, it's like everybody talks about it. There's been songs, there's been paintings, stories thing, just the entire structure of that premise of a predatory animal that is laying down with a slow moving baseline animal that is usually used for food for predatory animals, which is basically what it is. That baseline of that ideology has gone from one animal to another. At one point, everybody believed it was a lion. Yet, the book, which as far back as you can go has all said wolf, contradicts that. So, what happened there? Did the book change? Some people will say yes. Some people will go crazy and say yes, the books have changed, everything has changed. Other people have said no, the books haven't changed. It's just we have been confused for all these years. Because lion is inside of the lion a little bit later, and we've confused it to say lion and a wolf, or lion and a lamb. And I would think that had it been wolf and the lamb for as long as it had been, I would think that had the line always been "No, I am your father" from Star Wars, had it been what was the other big one? I always talk about Laurel Hardy's. That's another fine mess you've gotten us into. It's not. It's another nice mess you've gotten us into, but it's always another fine mess. Even in the movie, it's another fine mess. He says it's another nice mess you've gotten us into. Had it been the way that they say it's been for years, or that had they way that for years since it had begun, why do we call it out a certain way? I mean, they talk about the beam me up Scotty thing. That must have just started somewhere because somebody once said it outside of the shows, and it kind of rolled like that. But not everybody saw the actors outside of the shows for all the guest appearances they ever did, for all the conventions they ever did. Not everybody could have seen that. And for it to travel around, because you watch Star Trek, he never says "beam me up, Scotty." He always says "Scotty, to beam up." He never once says "Scott, beam me up, Scotty." Those words are never. I think it came after the fact. Somebody actually said it, but it was never in the original series. Just like Star Wars, never in the original series. So this supposedly goes back 1614, 400 years, supposedly. Goes back further than that. What is it? Now, I still think it was an apocalypse, a true apocalypse, which is a releasing of knowledge, releasing of understanding of knowledge. It's what happened around 2012, 2014. And that this is part of the veil being lifted, is that I don't want to say we were told lies, but that we are seeing total truth now. That there's been this grand manipulation of everything. including the Bible, including religion, including what your preachers and your pastors have told you for years upon years upon years. And because that veil was lifted and we can see the truth now, not just what our brains have been programmed to see by the evils of this world, because we can now see the truth, it messes with us and we don't understand it. And I think this was always the truth. We talk about wolves in sheep's clothing. Why do we talk about wolves in sheep's clothing? Because wolves go after sheep. Do lions go after sheep? No, lions don't go after sheep. There's no sheep in Africa. There's gazelles. There's all kinds of different deer, wildebeests. There are no sheep in Africa. Lions would have killed off all the sheep because sheep are slow moving and stupid. So no. The lion will not lay down with the lamb. The wolf will. And I know that's hard for some people to hear because you've heard it the way that you've heard it for years upon years upon years, but you're seeing the veil being lifted. You are moving out of the manipulation of this world, seeing it for what it is. Could it have been CERN? Maybe. There are no theories that I am not going to put down. At the same time, we are seeing truth in everything. If it's the truth that CERN did this and changed it all, then that's just part of the truth we're seeing. I think it's something simpler than that, though. It's taken me a long time to get to this point. I think it's something simpler than that, even though it doesn't make sense. We're seeing a lot of it. I'm not going to discount the CERN theory, though. I'm not going to discount that things have been changed. I've seen crazy stuff in my life that doesn't make any sense. I've even gone through when I was looking up the Flintstones thing, the Flintstones spelling that went from F-L-I-N stones to F-L-I-N-T stones, and it changed right before my eyes. That could be part of it. It's hard to know. It's hard to know, but again, it's part of this veil being lifted upon the total truth, being able to let us see. And you know what? It's not going to matter. Because all the things of this world are going to be gone. They're not going to be remembered, and they're not even going to come to mind. So, it is enough that we can, it says right here, but be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. He will create a new heaven and the earth, and everything shall not be remembered, nor shall it come to mind. And don't worry about it. Just be glad. Be glad in the things that he does create. Because he will create something far better than this place. And it will not be overrun by evil and wickedness. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, man, it's crazy stuff. And I could get on that Mandela effect stuff, and some of it makes sense and some of it doesn't. And it's a veil. It's a veil being lifted. The veil is being lifted on everything. We're seeing truth. And a lot of it is to make us contradict ourselves, make our brains go one way and think about certain things. And we have to be vigilant. Look towards the future. Keep God in our hearts. Do not give in to the garbage of this world. Do not give in to the lies. Don't even trust me. Go find the truth out for yourself. All right, I'm going to stop. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Stay as vigilant as you possibly can. All right, I will talk to you later.